Hi, welcome back to another Keebles tips and tricks video. My name's Gavin, I'm the programmer behind Keebles, and in this video we're going to take a look at the workshop. First of all, let's start off by taking a look at the workshop UI. Up in the top left hand corner we've got two different selection modes. The first is our normal selection, which lets us select and manipulate things one at a time, and next to it is our multi-selection mode, which lets you grab whole groups of things and move them around together. Beneath them are our components and gadgets. The components here are beams, small, medium and large driven wheels, and idle wheels. Next to them are gadgets. The gadgets are things that you can interact with as your vehicle drives along. We've got a parachute, small and large balloons, puffers and boom boom pods. Down below them we've got undo and redo buttons. There are unlimited numbers of undos and redos available, and if you decide that you want to just clear your whole design, you can always just press the reset button. Next to it is a delete button. If you have something selected and you don't want it, just press that button and it'll go away. Up here we have two rotate buttons for rotating puffers and boom boom pods around so that you can set the direction of their thrust. An indicator which shows you how many resources you've used. It'll be green if you're within the 5-star limit and it'll be orange otherwise. There's a magnifier button for use on devices with very small screens. On each level we've provided a hint system. There are 3 levels of hints that take you from basic guidelines all the way up to a completed solution vehicle. Don't necessarily guarantee that the solution vehicle is the best design or even necessarily a good design, but if you find yourself completely stuck on a level, this is a way of getting through it. Down below we've got our Go button, which starts the level off when your design is ready, a Preview button in case you want to refresh your memory about the level, and importantly there's also a Help button here. The Help button opens up the built-in help system. There's all sorts of useful information on how to play the game, how to use the workshop, what the various types of gadgets do. Importantly, in the gameplay section you'll also find a list of all of the keyboard shortcuts. There are keyboard shortcuts both for the workshop itself and for use inside the game. Let's take a look now at actually using the workshop. The most fundamental thing in the workshop is actually getting components onto the design surface. There are a few ways to do this. Most obvious is simply to click on the thing that you want to select it. In the case of beams, you can then click and drag to pull a beam out. If it's something like a wheel, then click and drag to move it around. Alternatively, you can simply drag objects straight onto the design surface too. Let's clear that out. There is one special thing that you can do to get beams onto the design surface, and that's that you can pull them straight out of the connectors on the bobble if there's nothing else on those connectors. This is very handy for just getting your quick initial sketch of a vehicle started. Of course, once you've put things onto the design surface, you might like a way to get them off, and there are a few ways of getting rid of things that you don't want. The first one is that you can simply select it and press the trash can icon to delete it. You can also select it and press the delete key. The other thing that you can do is just drag objects straight off the design surface and they'll be destroyed for you. There are some limits on where and how you can place objects. For example, beams can only be a certain length. If they're too long, they'll flash red, and if they're too short, they'll also flash. If you create a vehicle that has invalid elements like this, you'll see that the Go button will become red and can't be clicked. If you ever find yourself in a situation where the Go button is red, find the flashing red thing and that's where your problem lies. Gadgets and components other than beams can't be connected directly to the bobble. If you try, the bobble will flash red to warn you. The only things that you can connect to the bobble itself are beams. There are some other limitations as well. For instance, wheels are not allowed to overlap each other. Gadgets can overlap, but they cannot be placed directly on top of each other. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that there are different selection modes. Let's explore the use of those just a little bit more. Let's reset the design and put a couple of beams in. In single selection mode, you can only select a single thing at a time. Each time you click on a point, it'll select the next item underneath, so you can cycle through a whole stack of items to find the one that you want. If you want to move multiple things around simultaneously, use the multi-selection mode. It's not just limited to moving beams around. For instance, if I place this wheel and grab the wheel, it will move the wheel and the associated beams all at the same time. In multi-selection mode, there's another trick as well. If you click and drag the bobble, it will move everything on the design surface itself. In fact, things don't even need to be attached to the bobble to be moved around in this mode. Let's take a look at rotating objects. In this case, I've got a puffer. Here you can see that there's a direction indicator coming out of it, and this is the direction that thrust will come from the puffer. If I select it, I can use the rotate buttons to move it around. If I hold down the shift key, then I can move around in 45-degree increments. There are plenty of keyboard shortcuts in the workshop as well to make life easier. For example, if I want to select the beams, I can just press the 1 key. And in fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will select the left column of components, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 will select the right column of gadgets. Sometimes you want to place down multiple copies of the same object in a row. If you hold down the shift key, the game won't deselect the item that you've currently got selected. So for instance, I can keep clicking and dragging out beams to create as elaborate a structure as I like. Or I can put down multiple wheels. Of course, there are limits on how much you can place, dictated by the resources that you're provided in each level. There are a couple of other handy keyboard shortcuts to know about. For example, we talked earlier about using the rotate function. Rotation can also be achieved by using the Q and W keys, or the left and right square bracket keys. You can also use Z and X to undo and redo your actions. And you can use space to switch selection modes as you work. Using the keyboard shortcuts is an important part of being productive in the workshop. I hope you found this video useful. Be sure to check out the help system if you ever need a memory refresher on how some of the functions of the workshop operate. Have fun building fantastic contraptions. Take care. Bye-bye.